Hello everyone, welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. I'm Bethany, this is Sparky. And who is this? Who do I have? Mimi. This is me. Look at the tail. Can you see the tail? It's like, it's a windmill. Oh my goodness. She's a little adorable and wild. This is episode number 113. And this is the last one that you're going to have me for a while. I'm really sorry. You're going to be stuck with Sparky while I'm on maternity leave. I apologize in advance. There's nothing I can do about it. It's nature.
I'm zazzy.
All right. So, thank you. So Sos Gifts says, what age, sorry, I made a face. I struggle with these handles. She said, what age is typically adolescence for a mini Goldendoodle? It does. I think it's funny that you asked what is adolescence for this breed. There is a little variation among breeds, but it's very slight. Some larger breed dogs will stay in adolescence longer, but basically for most dogs, we would say it's 5 months to a year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah, I think they go in waves though more often than not. I think 4 to 6 months, 8 to 10 months, 12 to 16 months.
There's stages.
Yeah.
There you go. But that is adolescence.
Yeah, I think the first one, the 4 to 6 months, where she said 5 months, pretty much right in the middle. That's usually where they hit the first big stage of like teenagerhood, and that's when you get a little bit more nipping, more biting, more crankiness. The training that you've done almost feels like it's like disappeared. It's not that it's disappeared, it's that your puppy is a little bit more ornery. So they're pushing boundaries harder. So normally what we'll say in that one is just kind of go back to the basics, go back to what you did before. Just right in the mic. Go back to what you did before, and usually you can kind of work them through it pretty quickly. You just say 2-3 weeks.
And then there's even what I would consider, I know this is a really scary word, but there are animals with a lot of breeds. Even a Goldendoodle, you'll sometimes see like an aggression phase, and that can happen anywhere between 8 and 10 months to 14 months. And they're dogs, so you might see some growling, you might see, some behaviors that shock you. And, I'll be honest, if you see any of those, they can be a huge red flag. What we mean by phases is not they get over it. No.
No, they have to be worked through it.
They have to be worked through it properly, so you do want to keep an eye on that. Definitely certain breeds are more prone to it than others, but just keep that in mind.
Well, what are some ways that we can help you, give you advice, is have a good structure schedule. Have your puppy going throughout their day, having a lot of structure, because the less a puppy has to think about what they're supposed to do, because that structure is just already given, the more likely they're... I can't focus.
You can't focus, can you?
The more things you give your puppy, the less they expect. So if I already give the structure, I've got a nice structure schedule, a nice daily schedule where my puppy goes in the crate, comes out, trains, walks, plays, socializes, all that, and it's already been given, they don't make guesses as to what they should be doing. Most of the time, those guesses are bad. Yes. When do I bite mom? When do I jump? When do I try to dash out the front door to get the whole neighborhood to chase me?
Yep.
These are the things your puppy will naturally want to do because it's more fun. So you give the structure ahead of time, and then they don't guess as to what they should be doing.
Okay, just a reminder, guys, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. Just include the age and the breed of the dog for us.
Yep.
Okay, Melissa Geneve says, thoughts on doggy daycares? I'm worried about safety, but I need to have a few hours dog free.
I don't have anything against doggy daycares, but there are better ones, there are worse ones. So I like to know what the dog to human ratio is, because there's some of the bigger ones out there that's like 30 dogs to 1 human, 30 dogs to maybe 2 humans, and that is not enough. To give you an idea, when we socialize our dogs here, we do groups of anywhere between 3 to 6, and there's 2 to 3 trainers in the room at all times.
And this is because they're puppies. If they were adult dogs, it would probably be double that. But I just want to say that it's really, really not all places are made the same.
No.
And that's what it boils down to. You really have to investigate the place that you're looking at. Do they have a cutoff? When I first moved to LA, I tried to do doggy daycares because I didn't know anything about them where I grew up, and I thought they were a great idea. And I went to one of the most popular, high-rated places ever. And to be honest, it was a bunch of really young people with no training, they had no idea anything about dogs, and they had no cutoff in a small square room. And I showed up one day with my German Shepherd, and it was packed, and he's really friendly, but got really overwhelmed because they let everybody rush him at the front door.
Wait, do you mean that there's no cutoff in the amount of dogs in the
Yeah, there's
area?
no cutoff so anybody who comes in can come right. I mean, if they had a cutoff, they hadn't hit it yet. And it was so packed, and I still put my dog through it, and I'll never forgive myself for that because I should have listened to my gut right away. But as soon as he went in, and he was so overwhelmed with it was one person, because it's a small square room. So there's only one person in there. There's really no need for two, except for the fact you've got 30 dogs in a small space. So anyway, I pulled him, but I've seen a lot since then over the years, and that's not uncommon. The other thing I would watch out for is resources. So, and I know this is common at good places. They have balls and things like that because they are really good about picking dogs that don't have any resource guarding issues, but that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like adding a resource, a toy or treats into the situation, unless this would be my exception if I knew that there was a lot of a training background, and I was really familiar with the facility from that aspect. Maybe I'd taken some training classes from them, and I was familiar with them, and I trusted them, and I knew, how strict they were. So anyway,
which is not common.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite places out here, we have a place, I think it's up in Sunland for SoCal. It's Paradise Cove or Paradise Ranch or something. They have this really strict routine with the amount of dogs per person, and depending on the day is how many people they'll pull in from other areas.
Absolutely love
and
that.
They walk the perimeter, and it's a very large area. They stay moving all the time. There is no stopping and hanging out and talking to each other for 15 minutes or sitting down. They stay in motion, and that's a big, huge thing that really, really helps a lot of dogs. And that's why they can even have dogs that are a little nervous or a little this or a little this. Anyway, not every place is created the same. We suggest you don't do it every day. And then I just want to add real quick, if you just need a few hours dog free, if it's a really young dog, I'm wondering if you're doing any crating or if the dog has any proper alone time. So anyway, that's just like a little thing. Okay, all right. Anyway, let's move on. But you said I had a question up here. What is a good breed for a new dog owner with kids? King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. If you like big dogs, Newfoundlands. Newfies are great. And they can be stubborn, like get ready.
Drooly. Man, they're drooly.
Not all of them are.
They are so drooly.
I think we're biased because of where we live in SoCal. It's the heat.
Oh.
But anyway, but maybe they are all the time. But I don't know. I just don't think they are. But anyway, let's see. What was the other one I was going to say? Oh, Cocker Spaniel, although they can be prone to separation anxiety, so just a heads up to kind of keep that.
And they can get overwhelmed by children too. Young children can overwhelm them.
They're a puppy and they grow up in the family with them, though. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Do you have any other breed to add?
Black Labs.
Oh.
Not brown, not white.
Black Labs.
They tend to be the lazier of the bunch. The white labs are usually the sport labs. The brown labs are the craziest of all the labs. And this is a guy who's been doing service animal training for 13 years with labs, almost explicitly for the first 5. Black labs are the easiest labs to work with.
And it really is a thing with the color. It's the same with German Shepherds. Sables, standard, long hairs, they actually all have some different personality traits. It's
because they're bred differently
It's
too.
cool.
They're bred for hunting. They're bred for companionship. They're bred for happy family dog. There's a whole lot of stuff that they're bred for.
Yeah. Okay. Probably Day Mayor 45. 16 week.
DeMayor,
I don't know. 16-week-old GS Lab, so German Shepherd Lab mix. So that's an interesting mix. Great job sleeping in crate at night. Does not like it during the day if we leave. This is pretty common. A 4-month-old. It doesn't matter. You still have to practice it. That would be what I would say.
I have noticed in the last 4 years, we have had maybe 15 to 20 German Shepherds come through in the last 2 years even. And I would say one of those 20 was good in crate right off the bat. The other 19 out of 20, it's a high drive breed, a lot of anxiety, a lot of different things. So the more training you do outside of crate, the more training you do associated with crate, like even just calm crate pattern. House, sit, good. Close the door slowly, open it. They try to come out, you close it, open it slowly, wait them out. They settle for momentarily. Let's go or heel out of the crate, heel back to it, sit, house is crate, same thing. House, sit, down. You basically just want to slowly build up routines that are associated with the crate. You're trying to build comfort around it as well. So I have noticed that German Shepherds are just very, very crate anxious in general, but when they get used to it, man, it is beautiful. And I've had, in the last few years, about 7 or 8 of those really make a big pivot with the crate, and their quality of life is up tremendously. The owners are much happier with them, and they just have a happier household, honestly.
I can't even imagine a household with a German Shepherd mix that won't be crated during the day unless they were like an outdoor dog that's in a kennel. Like that would be the only exception, just because they go through. If you heard us at the beginning, I kind of mentioned like the different phases of adolescence. There are phases of adolescence.
Tough phase.
Woo, they are so intense, and I love the breed. It's one of my favorite breeds. I've always, as an adult, I've always had a German Shepherd. I've never not had a German Shepherd in the house. And so my point is that I say that lovingly, but yeah, I take what he said, but just to give you something a little bit more practical to think about or work on is what you do outside of the crate matters more than in the crate. I do want you to set up the crate during the day like a baby going to sleep, as if it's at night. So it's still a dark room, white noise machine, cover the crate, play some music, make sure you've got that setup going. But let's say you're doing that and you're still struggling. At 4 months old, let's make sure you're not too excited when you work with your dog. Let's like, go puppy, yay, come sit. It's like, no, make sure you slow them down for a good 15 to 20 minutes before crate time. So you're in charge of like just bringing down that excitement level. So you might potty, you might have some fun obedience, recall work, come play, with the tug toy, maybe a little bit of playpen time, all those things. But then you need to do something that is no petting, no excitement. You can still use food because it's a 4-month-old, but it's very slow. So you could go on YouTube probably and type in dog meditation and probably get a couple videos of what I'm talking about. If they're my videos, you're going to see an adult dog, but you can do it with a puppy too. You're just going to use food, but it's going to be like, good piece of food. I mean, it's really slow, and just bring them down. Make sure you're doing your thresholds, like they can't come out of crate without permission, front door, back door thresholds, things like that. Make sure you're working on place and then resetting place. So how we do place resets is we want dogs to be sensitive to spatial pressure. So I want to be able to move in and my dog back up. Place is a good way to teach that. Honestly, at 14 weeks old, if you don't have to, of course, but if you wanted to, I'm going to put in a little plug for our online program. You can go to thepuppyacademy.com and click on the online section and check it out. We go over all this stuff in detail if it's something that you're interested in, if you don't already have a program set up for your dog for training. But yeah, that would be my suggestion, and don't give up. Don't give up. Okay, you said I had another one over here. What is a good breed for cold and snowy environments? Husky and Akita, but those are two challenging breeds. If you don't have any experience, no offense, but don't get an Akita, get a Husky.
I actually prefer Malamutes.
Get a Husky.
Huskies.
Malamutes.
I think Malamutes are easier because they're thick and they're more lazy.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
They also make really good family dogs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. For really cool.
Malamute, not Malinois. Malamute. Confirm that. Very different breed.
Yep. And there are plenty of other breeds too. I can't believe I didn't think of this. Swiss Mountain Dog. Go get a Swiss Mountain Dog or a Bernese Mountain Dog.
We have never had a bad Swiss Mountain Dog.
Yeah, never had a bad Bernese Mountain Dog.
I can name every one of them by name for the last 3 years because we love them that much.
And they come in short and long fur. The Swiss Mountain Dog is short fur. The Bernese Mountain Dog is long fur, but they're practically the same. But
Swiss is a little bit easier.
You think they're
Bernese.
easier?
Yeah, I think Bernese are more pushy.
I haven't worked with many Swiss Mountain Dogs.
Here we've had probably like 10 in the last 5 years. Yeah.
What?
We've had quite a few.
Okay.
Very popular at one point.
But yeah, I can't believe I almost forget about them. And Newfoundlands too. They do well in cold. Yeah, they do well in cold.
They just tend to shed more.
They
got crazy amounts of shed.
So Newfies are good too. So those are all big dogs. Sorry I don't have any small ones for you. Pomeranian? Maybe? I don't know. They have a lot of fur. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. Okay, Melissa says, Genevieve, she is in South Florida. Let's see. Sorry, it's kind of long. Potty training is going much better, especially at night. Yay, 15-week-old mini dachshund. Oh, this is someone last week that talked to us about separation anxiety. That was very, very severe.
Where do you see this?
What?
Where do you see it?
Right here.
Oh, I missed it. Okay, cool. Thanks.
During the day, she gets too hyper to use her pads and then ends up going in the playpen. Again, you need a leash, and it's your job to teach her the expectations for each scenario. So she needs to be on a leash, especially 15 weeks old. She should not be, she should not be free. I'm going to transition to fake grass patch and start the outdoor process. Great. Still have her on a leash. I just watched your YouTube video. That must have been us last week, talking about the separation anxiety. She said, thank you for the empathy. That must have been me, not him. You're very welcome. I feel
I have empathy. Sometimes more likely sympathy, less empathy, but it's in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
She taught it to me. It's in there somewhere.
I feel like I'm finally being understood by someone. This has been horrible. Yes, she's talking about the separation anxiety.
And it was pretty bad. It was pretty challenging separation anxiety.
Hi, Melissa. I did try to find someone local. I got a $150 consult for a one-on-one, and he wanted me to just use a shock collar for a 15-week-old. Yeah, let's go right for that. Yeah, it sounds great.
Doesn't sound as balanced to me.
For a 15-week-old, let's just go right to that. Sarcasm, everybody. Sarcasm. Sarcasm. Let's see. He was just overall cruel to my puppy. That sucks. Yeah, let me finish. Do you offer one-on-one training? Not in South Florida. You sort of do too, but I have
Zooms.
A
woman flying in 2 weeks from Miami.
I do Zooms, and then people do travel. Let's see. If not, do you have a reputable trainer that specializes with this? I know I need the help, but I have no idea where to get it. Okay, I do have a recommendation for you, but I have no idea. I have no idea where she is in Florida. But if you contact her, she could potentially have a much better network of people down there to help you, okay? So Tori Smith, full name Victoria Smith with, get this right, Take the Lead Canine Training. I think it's just Take the Lead. Take the Lead Canine Training, Tori, Tori Smith in Florida. Reach out to her. She is great with the age of dog that you have. However, and I know she does separation anxiety. However, when we do these kinds of cases, sounds more like a board and train to me. If possible, not that she wouldn't do one-on-ones, but I think she'd want, separation anxiety is usually an immediate board and train. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Severe separation anxiety.
Severe, but it doesn't mean that you can't see improvements with someone who does one-on-ones, okay? Just for the record. I've had many one-on-one clients with minor separation anxiety that have completely turned their dogs around. But then when that doesn't work, it's like board and train. But anyway, my point is just that reach out to her, tell her your situation, and see if she has, tell her you'll pay her for a phone call. You will get more out of her with a phone call than you did this other guy with the consult. Like, you pay for her for a Zoom. You'll get more from her from a Zoom than you did this guy. I promise you that. But anyway, I like her a lot. I trust her a lot. And so there you go. Okay, I'm going to move on. All right. Dun, dun, dun. You're welcome so much. Good luck. And I hope you come back and let us know how it goes. And I hope that if she's not close to you, you could at least do a Zoom with her, because I know she does Zooms, and maybe set up a, maybe she can recommend you to someone. Okay. Oh, so this is in response to a video that we were doing on potty accidents and crate training. And Filkracker77 says, what is the point of having a dog if it lives in a crate? What is the point?
Oh, shit. You got Bethany going. She only got 1 week left, guys.
My last day.
Well, let's say this. They don't live in the crate. They spend time in the crate. They live in your home with you guys. They live with your family.
But when you're doing puppy training, it can feel like your dog, your puppy, is spending a lot of time in the crate. Why is this? Why is this? Maybe because they're supposed to be sleeping like 18 hours a day. And because we don't live on farms anymore, where the dogs get lots of downtime and they're not disturbed every 5 seconds by your phone going off, by you pulling out your camera and taking cute little photos of your little puppy and waking them up, or your kids running through the house and overstimulating them every 5 seconds. Maybe because we live in a way that's more unnatural now to dogs and how they started, we have to do these other things to try to counteract that, because they're not getting proper rest, which is actually the same thing that's happening to children under 3 years old, which I won't go into that, but it's the same aspect of people, the way we live now, of kids and dogs being overstimulated, and it's actually hurting their ability to regulate their emotions. Frustrated puppies, frustrated toddlers. Anyway.
You should have waited a week to post that question.
It's the same thing.
I was scared for you guys.
So anyway, the goal is not a crate forever. However, there are so many dogs out there. Like, I have worked with so many people that have like high drive Malinois, high drive this, they travel with their dogs a lot. They do sports, things like that. These dogs, they get a lot of crate time because they need it, because they're not great at
mentally and physically require the downtime.
Yeah,
and when they don't have it, they tear up your house, they destroy your property.
Even older dogs sometimes.
Yeah. I have a 9-year-old, 11-year-old dog that literally will rip apart our gate if she's not heavily boundaried throughout the day when I'm not there.
Yep.
She literally has escaped like 12 times in the last 6 months.
And
that's my dog. It's a trainer's dog. A trainer.
And so much of that is breeding and genetics and everything.
She's fearful. She's anxious. And I mean, honestly, for all these other people who are asking the same thing about the crate, it's not about it being easier on us. It's about it being easier on the dog. It's about us regulating the dog's day. Mm-hmm. So instead of them having to make all these really tough decisions on what they're supposed to do, making a ton of mistakes and getting in trouble with the owners, we are not in the business of yelling at dogs. We're in the business of giving them structure so they know what their day looks like, so that they know what they're supposed to do. Because when they don't, they interpret what their day should look like: jumping, barking, pulling, digging, tearing apart your fence, trying to escape, trying to look for friends, trying to look for mates. I don't know.
Not to mention, in suburban neighborhoods, in cities, we're getting dogs stolen all the time, puppies taken all the time, and so you can't do even if your puppy was good with it, you can't do your downtime outside anymore, hardly.
It's not about us making our job easier. It's about our puppy and making their life easier.
Now, here's the thing. If you don't want to do as much crate time, that's totally fine. You can do your potty training you can cut our day crate time in half, but what happens is the puppy has to stay tethered to you at all times. And that is what makes it really hard for the average person to do. But excuse me, I grew up raising litters, and if you're not doing a whelping box and you're not doing an outdoor lifestyle, when we were trying to transition them to inside, that's how it is. The puppy stays tethered to you all the time. So you look for the little cues to then take them out, because potty training actually was not a big deal when I grew up on the farm. That was a lot of land. Yeah. That was not a focus, because most of the dogs were going to be outside anyway, and then we had a few that that were going to be show dogs that we wanted to understand inside versus outside. We didn't do the crating. We did a playpen kennel, and then we did tethering to us. the entire time they were in the house, because it's all about teaching expectations. So if you want to do that 24/7 with your puppy, you go right ahead.
And I'm going to say this one more time. For Peggy and Jessica, if you guys don't want a crate and you have a reservation towards it, you just got to do something. You got to have the dog tethered, like Bethany already mentioned. You got to have a playpen set up. It's free roaming in the house that usually creates the biggest problems. And hey, maybe you got really, really lucky and your puppy is really, really great. Maybe they don't have the issues. And
make sure you don't have kids disturbing them every 5 seconds whenever they're, like, if they're home all day, you know, during the summer, because you're going to have a puppy that acts like your 5-year-old.
Yep.
And you're going to wonder why at 1-year-old you can't control them.
And for Jessica,
because they need their downtime. They need.
You mentioned that your dog is super well behaved, stress free. Good for you. Frankly.
But yeah, for you. Genetics.
I deal with 95% of the dogs that come here that are not like your dog.
Yeah.
And truly, I mean that for you. My dog is like that. I don't.
Yeah,
have
your
issues.
dog. Yeah.
Never really did a huge crate routine for. Had a lot of structure in the home.
You've only had regression now because of old age.
She's senile now.
Yeah.
But most of the people that come to this channel, it's not about the perfect dog who doesn't feel stress, who doesn't feel anxiety. It's because the dog feels stress and anxiety that they're coming to us in the first place. So any video anyone watches on our YouTube, on our Instagram, on our TikTok, on our lives, it's because we're catering to someone that's not you. We're catering to someone who has an anxious dog, has a stressed out family, and the dog is biting, jumping, nipping, and pulling.
And needs to be able to leave the house to go to work for 8 to 10 hours a day, and has a puppy, and has a family, and has these other aspects of things.
But Jessica, I feel for you. I'm in your same boat. I never had the issues until my dog got old. So yeah, I get it. But all the advice you give is not for you. It's for people who aren't in your boat, who do have anxious dogs.
And in our online program, we have a few people in very rural environments, and we have absolutely tweaked our program for them specifically, but it is geared towards a city, busy, suburban environment, and that's most of the feedback we're getting from people too. People are struggling with their dogs now more than ever, and I think it's like 30-something% more dogs now than even just 15 years ago. And so all of the compounding overstimulation and freedom and permissiveness in Western culture is out of control. And I know that because I've traveled overseas, and I have other trainers that have traveled overseas and seen the huge difference of dog behavior in other countries versus what we've done. And here's the thing. If you are, not that you're necessarily a single person, I have no idea, but I do see the easiest time with people when it's a single person that can give all that one-on-one time to their dog, and they also have good genetics as well. In their dog, I mean, not themselves. But anyway, that you just don't have as many challenges. So you're able to do so much more.
Yep. Sorry, Jessica, we mean interior part.
Well, it's not just, it's anybody. It's
anyone.
It's
I know, but
I didn't even know
I
who
mentioned
you.
Jessica's name 3 times. That wasn't specifically for you. You were just my example. Also, my dog's been in the hospital the last 2 days, so I'm stressed. And I'm coming off a little bit hot today.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little zazzy. Yeah, I'm feeling a little stressed myself.
Okay, one more quick thing. Jane says, at what age can I begin to trust my dog to not crate him when I'm gone? Oh, that's an easy one. You just practice and see. Yeah. It's a maturity thing as well as respect and genetics as well. If you've got some crazy husky,
I wait till about 16 to 18 months old.
That's typically
before I start attempting to give more freedom outside the crate. And I do that when I'm home.
Yeah.
So I got my dog in 2 hours, out 2 hours, or in 4 hours, out 4 hours, whatever you want to do. And then when my dog is out, without me having to constantly monitor them, are they jumping up on the couch? Are they stealing from the counters? Are they running outside and barking for 20 minutes straight? These are the things I look for, because if they're doing that when I'm there, what are they going to do when I'm gone?
That's true. And then you practice walking around the block or having your dog in a room. So since that was really quick, there's no such thing. Oh, Jennifer says, there's no such thing as too much water. Please remove that. The thought of people restricting water is horrifying. This has to do with potty accidents with puppies.
Yeah, it's specific to one certain thing. And by the way, the national average is a half cup of water per 30 pounds of dog weight every 2 to 3 hours. So if you think about it, we're giving water every 2 hours. Most people who get free access to water for a young puppy, they get tons of potty accidents. And we're still doing a crate routine. We don't have free access to go outside. Not everyone has that set up. So your dogs will be pissing in your house 7, 10, 15 times a day because they're drinking so much water in this high heat. So manage the water, don't eliminate it.
Maybe she lives in Montana and it doesn't get hot like Arizona, so she just doesn't know.
It's all situational. If you live in a climate that's pretty cool and maybe your dog doesn't need as much, you live in a climate that's super hot,
yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe you have to give a little bit more. Most of the time, though, this is for a puppy because we're teaching bladder control. We're teaching impulse control. My dogs, both of my dogs, we don't do water regulation anymore. There's a big bowl of water on the ground. We change it every morning. Sometimes the wife will change it at night, and they kind of drink their fill, and they are really good at managing it.
But
that
we're
doesn't
not.
come
But
until
here's
later in life.
For any misconceptions, we're not giving them enough water. That's water regulation or water restriction doesn't mean they're not getting enough water. It means that we're spacing the water out throughout the day in a way that helps us regulate potty accidents.
Yep.
Okay, everyone. I hope you had a good time.
It was fun. It's exciting.
And anyway, same time, same place next week. I'm sorry you won't see me for a while and you're stuck with him.
Yes, you are.
And I'll see you again back soon. Bye.
It's like gentle parenting for kids, people.